With 2025 over, it's now time to do what are the top 10 ships that were in 2025. This is going to be including battleships, cruisers, destroyers, CVs, and submarines. What are the best ships to get? Which ones were the most OP, the most broken, the most terrifying, and the most game impactful? So let's get started with the number 10. At number 10, we're going to have the Gdansk. The Gdansk is one of the top tier 10 destroyers that are in the game, and it's also tech tree, so you don't have to buy it, so that's really nice. What makes this ship so strong is the fact that it has a long duration smoke, so it's really good for support, being a support destroyer, also for farming as well, so a little bit versatile in that regard. Has HE guns, which are really good, as well as torpedoes, so a little bit versatile in what it's able to do. Propulsion is also okay as well, but the main thing here is its quick action 9-kilometer radar. So it has a 10-second action time for the radar and a 57-second cooldown. So it's able to do a really good job at cap controlling. This pair with another radar cruiser like a Savea pretty much makes it where it's almost impossible for a destroyer to try to get to a cap. So that's why the Gdansk is number 10 on this list, is just due to how versatile the ship is with being either a support destroyer, more of a farmer. It has torpedoes, and also that radar just makes it extremely strong. That's why nowadays you don't really see Småland being higher up in usage in either competitive scenes, is mainly because the Gdansk just absolutely just pushed the poor Småland out of the way. The Småland itself is still really good, but the Gdansk being a tech tree ship, overall, it just makes it where the Gdansk is just way easier to get, way more versatile, and just overall way stronger in World of Warships. Number 9 on the list is going to be the infamous U-4501. Yeah, it had to be somewhere on this list, and it's going to be at number 9. If you play anything tier 8 and above, you know of this monstrosity, this little disco dancing machine that has the turning radius on a dime, torpedo launching, always being underwater, speed boating machine. Yeah, this thing is is the fastest submarine that is underwater, with the under speed of about 38 knots. Yeah, it is insanely hard to catch, very maneuverable, and has a lot of torpedoes. This thing is an absolute menace in the submarine tier 10. It is super annoying to deal with. That's why it has to be at number 9. You can also get this thing for coal. And even though it is for coal and there are other tech tree options, the U-45 is the most popular submarine on all servers, which I'm not surprised at all, just because of how powerful it is. Because just imagine you see a U-45 on the enemy team. They're like, oh, okay, so it's just a normal submarine. Nah, you don't see it for the first 3 or 4 minutes of the match, but all of a sudden you get pinged or torpedoed from behind because it snuck past your entire team. Because this submarine, with its consumables of the reserve battery unit, it is able to stay underwater for a maximum about maybe like 6 minutes-ish, 5-6 minutes-ish. So it could go underwater at 38 knots. Going that full speed while being almost completely hidden, unless you have submarine surveillance or it has at least it goes under a hydro within 2 kilometers. But as long as it's running underneath like the 60-meter or 30-meter mark, it's really hard for hydro to see it unless it's 2 kilometers. And it can also use the hydrophone to know within 8 kilometers of where ships are at. So we can use that to kind of evade ships that do have hydro. And if you build a watchful, it also makes it where it knows when hydro is active. And since this thing can go underneath the enemy team, it can go behind the enemy lines, it can go on the flank. It can be like really annoying to deal with. So it has to be at number 9 because it's one of the hardest submarines to deal with besides the Archer fish, just because of how fast it is. So I have this ship at number 9 just for that reason. It's just such a monster submarine to deal with. Next ship on the list is going to be the Cesare. The Cesare was originally in the armory as a tier 5 you could buy, but over time they removed it, and they even tried nerfing it after they removed it, and that's how you have that tier 6 Novo, which is really, really bad. that essentially is a nerfed version and up-tiered Caesar. That's just how strong this thing is. This thing is a very accurate tier 5, pretty much a point where you shoot kind of ship, where essentially it's a cruiser dev striking machine. Oh yeah, this thing is really good at dev striking cruisers. Pretty much, when you see this thing, you know this thing is going to be trying to be dev striking cruisers the entire match, shooting their broadside, nuking them, whatnot. This is what this thing specializes in. It's got 320mm guns with a nice reload, pretty accurate for the tier, quite maneuverable as well for the tier. Nice heal, ASW as well, but overall, it's just a monster ship for tier 5. This thing, for tier 5, it's one of the best battleships in the game, tier for tier. Just a monster ship to deal with, super annoying as well. The only way you can get it nowadays is from Santa containers, but back in the day, you would see millions of these things running around at tier 5, just nuking all of the new players that were coming up in their Omahas. Also, as well as kamikazes. So if you saw kamikazes, you would see these things running around as well. Personally, for me, anyone that I see playing this ship or the kamikaze, I feel like are just really just filthy seal clubbers, where they just go down there just to bully any new player that's still around to this day. And man, I bet you so many players that are coming up in the tier are like, oh man, what's this thing? You poof, and they just got dev striked. At least I bet you half the people that are watching this video, and you can write in the comments, has been dev struck by a Caesar when they were first coming up in World of Warships. So going here for the first time playing cruiser, write in the comments if you got dev struck by a Caesar in the comments. I didn't, luckily, but anyone else that has, let me know in the comments if you have or haven't. But this is going to be number 8. Number 7 is going to be the Haida. I think it's the only ship in the game that is from Canada. If I'm wrong, people let me know in the comments down below. But it's going to be the Haida. Tier for tier, one of the best tier 7 destroyers in the game. I don't think there is any other equal for this ship. So it comes with the Commonwealth crawling smoke, right? It comes with the crawling smoke. It gets the hydroacoustic search as well as an engine boost as well, right? It gets torpedoes, the single fire, as well as HE and AP, and the guns are really lethal at the tier. There is no other destroyer at that tier that can compete with the Haida. It's just an absolute monster. Some people say, oh, the Cossack is better tier for tier. No. Haida is just 1,000 times better. Like, the Cossack can still lose to, like, the Fantastique, but the Haida, there is no equal. This thing is just an absolute monster. It was in the army for a pretty long time, but then they removed it, and now the only way you can get it is from Santa containers. It is a pretty rare ship, but overall, really strong. That crawling smoke hydro combination with the single fire torpedoes as well. Great guns. Just overall, just a monster destroyer. It could do even really well, even was up at like tier 8 or tier 9 matches. It could still do pretty well compared to like other ships of the same tier. But yeah, this is one destroyer that if you're coming up playing for the first time, or even if you're playing in a tier 8 or tier 7, if you see this thing on the enemy team, you know that you're not going to be having a fun time. As well as, it does make Canada look pretty damn good. So get that Canadian pride out there with that good old maple leaf and maple syrup, which I love, by the way. So a little bit biased. All right, so number 6 is going to be a little bit weird. It's going to be the Valp and the Libertad. I'm going to explain why it's both in one. But for number 6, let's talk about the Valp first. So clearly, number 6 has to be Valp, right? So Valp, extremely strong for his tier. Why? Well, it just doesn't die. It has the pushing power of, let's say, 2 or 3 battleships, right? It can heal it can have a total amount of health of about 250,000 in total health that it can take before it gets killed, right? How much damage it can take before it's dead. About 250,000, which is roughly the same as a Conqueror. So put in perspective, about the same as a Conqueror, which is pretty insane. So even though it's not really able to deal that much damage, it just doesn't die. It's essentially like the meme of in Family Guy where Peter's shooting the Amish barn over and over again. They just rebuild it. Yeah, that's essentially what the Valp is. It can just sit, bow into the whole enemy team, just sit there tanking, and just never die. And when it does die, you've pushed the entire enemy team so far off the map, there's no way that they're able to win. And that's the power of the Valp. Insanely strong, just doesn't die. I'm glad that they made it where it's not coming back anytime soon. Because it's just way too strong overall. Like, Jesus Christ, this thing is insanely strong. Now, from the Valp to the Libertad, oh boy, because both of these ships apply for this one, okay? So both of these ships get the British acceleration, right? So they can go to stop to full pretty fast, right? They also have the turn. They also have the, you know, of course, you can build into the steering gears, right? So they can turn really sharp as well, which makes it where these ships are quite maneuverable for what they are and for how big they are, right? Pretty insane for both. And both of them have the secondary gimmicks with how strong they are. But the Valp, being a tier 10, it's more focused on how strong the secondaries are in tankiness, right? Because looking at the ship, right, it's like, oh, it doesn't look like, look at this giant side. It's not that tanky, right? It's only 50 millimeters. How hard would it be to kill? Well, with 12 guns on it as well, yeah. So you get 3 turrets that are facing forward, 3 in the aft, right? So if you're able to angle to where you have 3 of the turrets shooting a time off the front or 3 off the rear, that means that you have the angles to where you're able to essentially take very little damage on your side. You're angled enough where it's just going to be ricocheting. And even at that angle, all of your secondaries here can be firing. And these secondaries have a base range of 12.5 kilometers. And these are some big secondaries with 234 millimeter guns, right? With the 59 millimeter pen for the HE. And not only do you have these really hard hitting secondaries, you can also get the secondaries out to 15.1 kilometers, by the way. You heard that right. 15.1 kilometers is what you can get the secondary range to. And this combat instruction also makes it where it has a faster reload for the secondaries, and it makes them do more damage. Also, if you have the commander, Lisboa, on this ship, same with the Valp, it makes it where if you used your combat instruction twice, your ship goes faster, and you start with the progress at 20% every time after for your combat instruction. So it makes it even faster to get. So not only is Libertad already a tanky battleship from how good the angles are on it and how hard the secondaries is, but you can also get that in combat instruction faster, which makes its DPM even higher. So yeah, so for the Valp, it's essentially a tanky, essentially immortal, not much damage. Like, it can still do damage with fires, right? But its main thing is just it's immortal. This doesn't die. While the Libertad, it can do tank as well as just put out insane amounts of DPM while you're taking little damage. So that's why for me, Valp and Libertad are number 6, because I find them both around the same. It's just that Libertad does more damage while the Valp just doesn't die. And that's why they're number 6 on the top 10 ships in World of Warships. Number 5 is going to be Jager. Yeah, this had to be on here. If you fought a Jager or you play as one, you know how annoying it is and how annoying you are to deal with. With 5.4 kilometer concealment, you have one of the best concealments in the game out of all tiers, by the way. So tier 9, one of the best, okay? This thing is also the size of a tier 3 destroyer. Also very low in the water, which means that even if you do spot this thing, it's really hard to hit. It's also maneuver as well, very fast for its tier, as well as having an engine boost as well, right? Also has a heal. And what makes this thing so deadly is the fact that these torpedoes, you get 12 of them, have a 65-second reload. And they go 95 knots, which is really fast. They don't do a lot of damage, though, But the thing is, they have a 12-kilometer range, which means that you have a lot of torpedoes with a fast reload, which means that you can get permafloods really easily in this ship. So a little trick that you can do with these ships that make them so deadly is that you can launch torpedoes every 15 seconds. So that means that no matter how much dodging someone is doing, you're going to hit them sooner or later. And if you have Swirsky, if you hit about 8 torpedoes, and for every 8, you get 5% faster for your reload. So it makes it even worse. So this thing is so annoying to deal with. It's annoying to shoot at. It's annoying to even spot. Even if you have radar, it's annoying to deal with. The only real counter to this thing is actually aircraft carriers and just keeping it perma-spotted. That's the only real counter to this thing is. And that's why it's number 5 on this list. It is so annoying to deal with no matter what game mode you play it in or are you dealing with it. Super annoying. So that's why it's number 5. It's just an absolute insanity just for how strong this ship is. Number 4 on this list is going to be the Hawaii. And oh boy, is this thing a monster cruiser. You can call it the Super Atlanta, Super Austin, whatever you want to call it. This thing is a DACA machine. And what makes this ship so strong is that it has 24 guns on it, by the way, and it has an Alaska hull. So the hull itself is tanky except for the superstructure area, right? So it can be kind of confusing to shoot AP at it or HE, but having all of those guns with a 5.3 second reload is already bad enough, right? But then you can activate this thing, which makes it where it makes it have a faster reload down to 3 seconds. It makes the range shorter and it makes the shells lower, so they have like a better arc, so they can shoot kind of like Atlanta. So essentially turns it into a tier 10 Atlanta. It makes the AP damage less and it also reduces the fire chance, okay? Essentially, how you want to think about this ship is that when you have the F key off when you're playing this ship, right? You want to play it like a regular cruiser. Long range, HE throwing. If they're broadside, maybe throw AP at it, right? But once you enter around 9 kilometers that they're pushing towards you, you turn your main guns essentially into secondaries that you can aim. And when you have that active, and oh boy, you can just melt anything extremely fast. And God help, they show broadside to you, you just switch to AP, you can melt a battleship in under a minute. Insanely fast. As long as you're shooting like the non-saturators, like the bow, the upper deck, and then the aft in that order, you can melt a battleship extremely fast. And I've done that trick against Libertads, Conquerors, Montanas, Thunderers, you name it. I've done that to even Kremlins, where they've given you broadside, thinking that they're going to nuke you and you don't. You can Citadel this thing. Essentially, if you think of like exactly as an Atlanta, as an Alaska, aiming around this area right here, you're going to be able to Citadel it. You got to aim like a little bit down here, and you'll be okay to be able to actually Citadel it. But no, this thing is a DACA machine, and you're able to play it in a variety of different roles. It does have a short range radar, which can be a little bit of pain to use, but a lot of people don't know how to fully master this ship yet, but over time they will. I'll probably do a video on how to play this ship, like an actual like review and like how to play Hawaii or something like that, or a how-to video or something like that, where I'll record me playing the ship, talking about what I'm thinking during the match, my positioning and such. And if you guys like that sort of thing, write in the comments down below if you want that. I've kind of not done that many long form reviews in the past, but I was thinking about doing one for the Hawaii. But let me know what you guys think, because I really enjoy playing the Hawaii. Also, I've had a lot of people asking what this camo is. This camo is called the like and subscribe camo. I don't remember exactly how you get it, but overall, really love it. A lot of fun to play. But yes, for number 4, it's going to be the Hawaii. All right, we all knew this ship was going to be on here. So Colombo, number 3, and the best ship in World of Warships, okay? So the Colombo, it had, it had simple origins, right? When it first came into the game, the gun angles on the rear were really bad. Even though they were 360, they were really bad. They couldn't really be used that much. And then the legendary mod wasn't a thing. But then a few things changed. They made it where the gun angles were absolute god tier on the rear guns when they're facing left or right. Then they added the legendary mod that made the dispersion more accurate, right? And it made the reload a little bit better too while we're at it, right? Okay. So people are like, oh, that wasn't that big of a change. Nothing bad happened. Wrong. It made this thing into originally where it was kind of a shotgun dispersion into a sniper sap throwing machine. And no matter what angle you sit at, you're gonna get slapped for at least 20 or 30,000 damage. 19 kilometers away, bow wind, nah, you're gonna get chunked for 20k. It doesn't matter what angle you're at. And he can sit bow wind to you, like angling off of one side, then instantly turning his gun to the other side and just slapping your teammates with sap. It is over and over and over again. And if it does need to run away, it does have that Italian exhaust smoke, which will make it where it can turn out, kite away for a bit, then come back in bow later when it's got its HP back. So this thing is an absolute monstrosity. When they added that legendary mod and that buff to the gun angles in the rear, it made this ship overnight into the competitive scene meta battleship. It replaced the Ohio. It doesn't matter what ship you brought in, you were just going to get chunked by it, and you had to bring in another Colombo just to counter this thing. The only real counter to fighting a Colombo is just praying and staying far enough away from it to where you get like lucky enough that the dispersion isn't on its side, so you don't take that much damage. But yeah, it don't matter if you're a cruiser, a battleship. Funny enough, against submarines, this thing is one of the few ships in the game that can actually nuke a submarine from full health to no health with a salvo. Because sap, it acts differently when dealing with submarines and it does full damage. So it's able to do full damage to a submarine inside of its little circle. So imagine like there's a circle around the submarine, right? And the further out the shell is from the circle, like the circle, right? It's going to do less damage. But with sap, as long as it's in the circle, it does full damage. And HE doesn't do that, and AP doesn't do it. Only sap does for submarines. So sap can just absolutely delete submarines. So you'll see a submarine that with submarine surveillance start surfacing, and you'll see a Colombo just beamline snipe it, and you'll see it go from full health to no health just instantly. And Colombo's one of the only ships in the game that can actually do that, and it's just insanely strong. So even submarines aren't safe from Colombos. We all think they're OP enough as there is, right? So it doesn't matter what it is. It's just going to get slapped by the Colombo. So that's why Colombo is number 3 on this list. All right, so for number 2, it has to be on here. It was really close with the Shinano, but it's got to be the Essex, okay? The Essex is just insane, all right? I can understand Wargaming's perspective, right, on what they've won. They're like, oh, let's add a aircraft carrier that can support the team, right? It can give smokes, right? It can give smokes to the 2 rechargeable squads, right? It can give smokes. It has anti-CV fighters, right? They're built just specifically for that, okay? Right, so now let's just take all that, okay? And then you just make it where it has the same DPM as the high DPM carriers, okay? So it's a support CV with the same attack ability of all the other CVs that have really high DPM at the tier, right? Okay, so, and other than that, you can think about the smoke as well, and the fact these squadrons are rechargeable. It makes it where, even in the late game, right, no matter what, this thing is going to be able to have squads. So where normally in near the end game of a match, like 15 minutes in, most carriers are running a little bit low on aircraft. Wrong. This thing never runs out of aircraft. It's going to keep attacking with full squads over and over and over again. Okay? So no matter what you do, you're going to be suffering against the Essex. And God forbid you see an Essex with a div, like a div, right? With like a Sleefin or some kind of brawling ship, or maybe a radar cruiser or something. God forbid you see that, or like a radar DD. That means that you're going to be having an Essex smoking up that brawling ship or whatever the entire match, making it where no matter what you do, he's going to be keeping them in smoke the entire time. There's nothing you can do about it. And good luck winning that match. That's all I'm going to say. Good luck. So the torpedoes hit extremely hard. The attack fighters can do a lot of damage as well, and so do the bombers, okay? Tons of damage. Pure mayhem is what this ship is. I wish they kept this rechargeable plane thing for the super carriers, because them bringing it down to tier 10 really just makes all the other CVs just outdated at that point, just power crept. Because the Essex is now the #1 tier 10 aircraft carrier of the game, right? It's the #1. There's like no doubt about it. The close second is the Shinano, and that has the rechargeable bombers, and it has smoke on there too, right? But the Essex is just so strong in its ability to provide support for its team, to do good spotting, to be able to provide smoke, provide fighters. It doesn't matter, right? No matter what role you're wanting to do with this thing, it's going to be fun. You just want to farm damage, you can do that. Oh, yeah. You can also smoke yourself, too, which makes it where if you're being chased down by something, you can provide smoke for yourself to be safe. So if you're not using smoke for your team, you can use it for yourself to keep you safe. So, yeah, it makes it like where you're anti-snipeable. It just makes it where you can't get killed, which makes it even more of an annoying CV to deal with, because you can't even hunt it down properly. So like imagine like you're in a destroyer, right, or a cruiser or a battleship, and you're really close to it. Unless you have radar, you're never going to kill it unless you're like within 2 kilometers, because he's just going to be able to outrun you. He's going to be able to sit in that smoke while bombing you and hitting you over and over again, and it's just going to be a pain in the butt. And that's why this thing is #2 on this list. And now we're moving on to #1. Write in the comments what you guys think is the best ship in World of Warships. I'll give you guys a moment, but let me know what you guys think the #1 ship in World of Warship is, because we've had a lot of strong contenders, right? We had the Hawaii, we had the Colombo, we had the Essex, we had the Valp, the Libertad, the Haida, Cesare, U-45, and Gdansk. The #1 ship in World of Warships is going to be the Black Swan. And now I know, most of you guys are like, what the hell is he talking about? But hear me out. Let me explain myself, okay? So, back in the day, and it's still going on right now, there are legit players that only play tier 1. And the reason why is there's no gimmicks. No gimmicks at all. It's only the skill of your aim and dodging. And the best ship for that is going to be the Black Swan. Tier for tier, it is the best ship in the game. None of the other tier 1 ships can beat this thing. It is a monster for the tier and always has been. There are people with 20,000, 30,000, even 40,000 battles playing the Black Swan because it is the best ship to play at tier 1. And there are even tourneys with the with the tier 1, where people will do tourneys on seeing who the best Black Swan player is. They even had to nerf the Black Swan a long time ago. They had to nerf it just because of how strong it was. But no, the Black Swan is tier for tier the best ship in the game. Very strong, insanely good for its tier. Just breaks any kind of relevance on any other ship being even close to it. So, yeah, #1 is going to be the Black Swan. Insanely strong, insanely broken. Because back in the day, it was very normal to see people that only played the Black Swan, and that was like their only ship to play. Because once you go up tier, there's more gimmicks, there's aircraft carriers and subs, and who wants to deal with that when you can just go out in a tier 1 ship and go out and have fun and just brawl it out with just guns and dodging and maneuverability, right? So that's gonna be the list of the top 10 best ships in World of Warships. Let me know what you guys think of the list. Write down the comments of your list. But yeah, thank you guys all for watching today's video. Write down if there's any other videos or top 10 lists you want to see. But yeah, thank you guys again for watching, and see you guys in the next video. Deuces.